أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم كل وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا اللهم اجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره. So today our 14th session and the last session of these series, the discussion circle about Imam Mahdi, reviewing the book of Mikyal. So we were on the last part of Mikyal, the part 8, chapter 8 of Mikyal, which was focusing on the duties of people towards the Imam alayhi salam. So this is the big picture. We covered the personal level duties, 4 categories, and the 5th one also we almost finished. 2 remained. I didn't want to sacrifice them, so we start with those, and inshallah we take it from there. Let's jump into the discussion. One of the interesting, I'll mention why interesting, duties is seeking help from him. Why it is a duty? What is it? Why it is a responsibility? I give an analogy, for example, and then either if you are a father or mother, parent, or if you are not, still, I think it will help to understand why this is important. You know, as a father, for example, if your kid, if your child wants money, and then he goes to your either father or to their friend and say, I want money, can you help me? That itself is not a good looking act towards a father. That means I skip you, I don't consider you as my guardian, as my father or mother, so I go to others. I'm not saying Imam alayhi salam will have hard feeling. Rather, for us, as in the etiquettes of being a Shia, is again, this example or analogy of servant and master, which I don't like the word, especially in the US context that we use, slave and master, but you know what I'm talking about, the servant. Basically, all the affairs of maid or servant is on the master, on the Mawla. And it is rude, it's impolite, it's not following the etiquette that when I want food, I go knock on the neighbor's door and say, I'm hungry. So that means your father, your master didn't do their responsibilities, so you ended up being poor or not knowing what to do. So it is important to ask Imam alayhi salam as the first person to go to for all of our needs, spiritually or worldly. I want to buy a car. I have problem with my mortgage. I have issue about my job. So we talked a lot about this connection, having the relation with our living Imam. So one of the important aspects of it is seeking help from him, which again is interesting how Sahib Mikyal also captured this point as one of our duties. So this is one of the etiquettes of being a believer. No need to remind everyone, again, stop me or ask question whenever you have question on this. I'll go forward. Next, there is a concept that I want you to be familiarized with, which is murabita, which can be translated as guarding his borders. Very, very important. Game changer, life changer, giving meaning or giving direction to our lives. So how you are setting your life, I want to be successful, I want to be this, that. Or I want to do the murabata. That's my whole main objective, and all of the tactics and my strategies and all is to fulfill that. What does that mean? So the ayah of Quran says, this is the last ayah of Surah Al Imran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اصبروا وصابروا ورابطوا واتقوا الله لعلكم تفلحون. O faithful, O you have faith. Be patient. Stand firm. I mean, sabiru, I don't know. Again, the English translation always we have to elaborate a little more. Esberu means be patient, but sabiru means advise one another to patience. I don't know how we can say it in one word. Because in Arabic, when we have fa'ala, it means two-way. Kataba means the like pen pal writings, back and forth. I write, you write back to me. This is kataba. Kataba means I sent a letter to White House. It gets nowhere, I get no response. But when you text, it will be tata. No, I'm joking. It will be kataba. So I am ukataba ma'a sadiqi مثلا. So fa'ala in Arabic means back and forth. So sabara, which is the word, and the command would be sabiru, is just advise one another to patience as well. Warabitu. Rabitu is a very interesting word. They have translated as close your ranks, which I don't know what it means in English. So we'll talk about it. Imam Baqir alayhi salam has a hadith about this ayah that Imam said, "Isbiru ala ada al-fara'id." Be patient about like doing the your duties and fulfill those. Sabiru aduwakum. Again, advise one another regarding your enemies, because some people, they have more energy. They are so I don't know what's the word. They want to take action. That guy did something and said something about Ahlul Bayt or us, but you have to calm them down in that regard. وَرَابِطُ إِمَامَكُمُ الْمُنْتَظَرِ. Rabitu can mean have the relation and connection, but it seems that the more accurate word, or at least the one that it's being used, means guarding his borders. So what it means is Imam alayhi salam has, in my words, like territory, if that makes sense, which within that territory, who are the people, who are the people, his followers, his Shias. And there are enemies, there are people that they want to attack this territory and take people out, right? Basically, the active non-Shias, if that's a good word, people that their goal is to take away Shias from their faith, their belief, different ways. Invite them to that cult gatherings, or you have heard people that they like converted to, I mean, they are Sunni, they became atheists, Christians. Last night, because it's related to our discussion, I mentioned that I was about to sleep and someone texted me, can you take a call? It's urgent. I said yes. So I ended up walking, because when I have important thing, I have to walk and talk, right? So he said there is a person, a boy that is raised in Shia family, blah blah. Now he's going to marry a American Iranian Baha'i girl, and he said, I want to convert and I want to be Baha'i. So what should we do? And they are in Texas. So I started thinking, I gave some thought. Before I go to sleep, I did something like, we can talk about details, but basically what it means is a group of people that they don't believe in Imam Mahdi, and actually their existence is against the Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. They believe that the 12th Imam was someone else who came and got killed, blah, blah, blah. And we have a new religion now. By trapping or by discussion or whatever, at the end of the day, that Shia Muslim, which I got some more updates this morning, that, by the way, he was practicing, he was doing this and he's that, now wants to give up his faith. And so what do you think that news will do to the heart of Imam alayhi salam? This is a great example of attacking the borders, taking away or taking away, I think better word, the people, the people, and make them misguided and astray from the. So, what is our role as people? As I said last week, I don't want to like brag or make ourselves arrogant. All of this is blessings of God, and we don't have any credit. But you see, I don't know, 10 people, we had at least this much concern to sit together to talk about Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. So now what should I do? How should I have more responsibility. Rabitu means guarding his borders. I should be able first to deepen my faith, increase my knowledge, and also not just that, sitting at my home. Be like a warrior, like the border patrol, that they walk around and are with sharp eyes looking around, looking on the threats, looking at the challenges that may come, looming problems that, oh, I see in the society there is a new activity happening. We should not be, we don't have time to go to the details of this. We have a lot of ahadith comparing a pious person that is worshiping at home compared to a knowledgeable, a learned person who give benefit by his knowledge to others and saves the Shias and who are misguided back. So Imam says, like, millions of times is greater that person. Someone at home reciting dua, Quran, doing this, but he doesn't bother. For example, if I tell you, I don't want to name, but one of brothers or sisters, I got the news that someone in West Virginia or Richmond, they need attention. They have serious questions about their religion. Are you willing to say, okay, I cancel my birthday party, I'll go there, I'll drive there, I stay in a hotel, or I do something to guard the border of my imam? Because these people are, at the end of the day, the orphans of the imam, the community of the imam. So our responsibility is higher. It's more important. And remember last week when I said the hadith, this is the highest level of paradise that someone can reach. This is the example of supporting the imam by tongue, by heart, and by hand, by action. Getting on the wheel, go do something. Anyway, so that's the concept of murabata. So I think we get back to it down the road. Yes. What's the back and forth in That's a good question. I think I was thinking about it honestly before. It might be not directly back and forth, but that alluded to this concept, because rabatu in literal meaning means have that relation with the imam. Rabatu imam. So let me ask you. We have, alhamdulillah, 3 Arabs in the, or 4. Sorry, 4. I was looking at this side. You're Arab. So what do you understand from this? Now we examine your level of Arabic. رابطوا إمامكم المنتظر. As an Arab, when you hear this, what do you understand? What comes to your mind?
Like he's asking, like, maintain connection and protect his shut, like protect his honor. Like, I don't know, like protect what is honorable, but not honorable.
Nice. I like that. Because the first one, that's what came to my mind. And that's always the way that I always looked at this hadith, because this is a very famous ayah, last ayah of Al Imran. That's how I remember. So, but protect his honor. So you get that sense from this, right? Any other thought? Yeah. Okay. So
yeah, but in relation to each other. So, like, for example, encourage your friend to
whatever, have dua, for example, or have come to the discussion about Imam Mahdi.
Yeah. So that's what I think. As you know, in Arabic and probably other languages, but Arabic for sure, the root is important, but it evolves throughout different categories of words and verbs. Also, it evolves by the way that people use it. Sorry, people use that in their conversational. So the core meaning might be exactly what you said, be in connection back and forth. That's where fa'al and murabata comes. But because of that, it comes to the meaning of guarding the borders, because when you guard border, you are not in solo, right? You are not sitting alone. There's a connection with the capital, with the chief of a staff, or right, that I'm doing my job, giving back report, go there, come here. So that connection, that what are the concerns, that might be the connection. But I'm personally interested. Again, that was one of the things that has been on my mind, the word murabata. But yeah. So let's move on to this point. These are all related. This is another interesting concept that we put it on a personal level, but it also should be somehow in social level as well. Cooperation for his support. What does that mean? One of the meanings is you together do something collectively. Do we do that? As I was talking earlier, off record, just let's do something together. We are doing, I'm not saying we are not, but if we know the importance of it, it will give us more energy and motivation. So, for example, we want to hold a, gathering or program or event or camp or whatever. So we ask someone to design a flyer. We ask someone to give a lecture. We ask someone, we work together. This cooperation is important around a common cause, right? Something that we all believe. It's different than my point is, this is another valuable thing. One thing is I sit at home, write article, read, do something, as our scholars have been doing, and this is something great, right? No doubt. But there's another category, which is cooperation for his support. Collectively, let's have regular meetings throughout the year, sit down together. What can we do to support our Imam? Let's come up with a plan. Let's come up with an action. Let's divide our work. Say, you do this, I do that. This is your strength. This is my strength. So let's put that together. And that, you all know these better than me. In that case, 2 + 2 will not be 4. It will be 400, because that's the collection and collective action, right? So I have a lot to talk under this topic, but let's read a beautiful letter from Imam alayhi salam, which the Arabic is on the bottom. We are in America. So any volunteer to read the English one? Yes, please.
In fulfilling the covenant on them, then the blessing of meeting us would not have been delayed for them. Happiness would have hastened to them upon meeting us with true cognizance and sincerity towards them. Nothing restrains them from us, but receiving the news of what we dislike, and they do.
So this is from the excerpt from one of the letters of Imam Mahdi, one of the توقيعات. ولو أن أشياعنا وفقهم الله لطاعته على اجتماع من القلوب في الوفاء بالعهد عليه. So Imam alayhi salam says, what is the reason, or at least one of the reasons, that I'm still in occultation and ghaibah? Because the Shia are not collectively gathered around the cause of Ahlul Bayt, بالعهد عليه. If that was the case, it would have not been delayed or postponed. So that means if you get together, if you do together, like as a collection, as a work, as a teamwork, there would be blessings among them, meeting the Imam alayhi salam, which he says nothing restrains them from us but the news of them being disobedience, committing sins and all. So any comments, any question? I know these are all, yeah, go ahead, Atta.
I mean, kind of a question, I guess, because, well, it seems like from this hadith that, like, okay, the Imam is gonna come when the Shia, let's say, unite. But I feel like from other Shia, other ahadith, the Imam is gonna come at like a very dystopian time where there aren't that many, like, let's say, moments or whatever, maybe.
So, so you said the ahadith that have this context may allude to the point that if we do otherwise, the coming of the Imam will be hastened.
No, I'm not saying doing otherwise. No, I mean, okay, maybe this hadith is only for the time that the original ghaiba occurred, that people were not united around the Ahl al-Bayt.
No, this is actually in a letter to Sheikh al-Mufid, so it's after Ghaibat al-Sughra. So this is during the major occultation or Ghaibat al-Kubra.
Okay, so I guess
But again,
it's saying, like, reappearance is kind of gonna happen when the Shia are, like, let's say, kind of united.
Yeah, at least it alludes to that, because Imam alayhi salam is giving one of the reasons that this تأخر عنهم اليمن بلقائنا. Why it is delayed? Because people are not united. And I think we don't need a reason or saying from Imam to see that division even among Shia community, right? So let me not get started on that. No, go. You start. I don't want to start, but you start. Oh, by the way, please, whenever you feel free. This is an open discussion. Yeah, go ahead.
So when he talks about like disunity, right? Is different Maraja or disunity, or is that too much?
Okay, so
I know I don't want to get into it, but
I'll say an example, and this is kind of touchy for a lot of people, but for example, you have a lot of people who have very bad things to say against, like say Ali Khamenei, for example, like that. He's someone who should be respected, yet you have people who still hold high status and say very bad things. So that's a basic example.
I have 2 cents on this point, and I sincerely ask Sayed, who honored us and joined us, to shed light on that as well. So Maraja can be seen as division or can be seen as unity. Why? If we look at the position of marja'iyya, fiqaha, okay? So that is something uniting, in my opinion, meaning that I don't care, not in a bad way, but really, I mean, those that they are close to me know that this is my approach. I don't care who you follow. And I don't make that a big deal. That, oh, my marja is the one who takes you to heaven, your marja takes you to hell. But we see that some people have that attitude, right? I personally think because going to maraja is one of the things that our intellect tells us, and the hadith of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam encourage us and commands us to do, it's uniting. That yes, I have a line, I draw a line between me and someone who says, you know what, screw them all. I mean, I myself do this, I am knowledgeable, I do this and that. No, we have to. And then, you know what I do? I open a page of Bihar and say, okay, can you read it, the Arabic, without problem? If you do that, I'll follow you. Let alone talking about the usul and other things. But at the same time, specifically the topic of Maraja, as Brother Reza said, unfortunately, we see that that we make them as a point of division. I follow this marja, you do that. No, you know what? Who am I? We are not in that level to judge, or, that doesn't make sense. So it can be uniting, it can be also disuniting, if that makes sense. But at the same time, in higher level, so Shias can gather. Imagine, going to doctors will not divide us. You have we come to your pharmacy, if you give us the address, they go to other pharmacy or the other primary care, right? But all of us, what divides us? The group of people that say, yeah, we should go to doctors. A group of people that say, no, doctors are dumb and we are against the medicine, and just we take, I don't know, this and that. We sit down and pray. Let me say that. But we say, okay, that's a division. Does that make sense?
You're basically saying that you choose to be divided based on those differences, right? It's like a choice. Like we choose to be divided because we have.
Some of us make that as a point of division, that this is my primary care physician, this is yours. Or one way is, no, we all believe in tib. We all believe in medicine, and we appreciate medical schools. And we divide, yes, with those that they hate medical schools, if that makes sense.
It's a good answer, I think. Just to give one comparison, you know the story, many of you probably heard it, when Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein were very young. The Prophet encouraged them to wrestle. And he was, I believe, encouraging perhaps Imam Hassan, and Sayyidah Fatima said, why are you encouraging him, and what about Imam Hussein? And the Prophet said that Jibreel is encouraging him. So that was a command by the Prophet. Now, if you are Imam Hassan or Imam Hussein, are you supposed to say, well, we don't want to hurt one another, we don't want to win against one another, so I should kind of hold my punches? No. The proper task at that point is to play with your full energy, your full vigor, and you try to win. But that is not disunity. That is the Prophet training them to be strong, to be healthy, to be able to develop, the human strength that is needed for serving Allah in worship, in war, and in so many other areas. So that's not disunity, because it's designed by Allah for a purpose. The process of scholarship is based on the idea that when the ma'soom is not there, nobody is going to have all the answers. So Maraji are going to have wrong answers. But the only way that we can preserve the best result is by having disagreement, even strong disagreement, so that through that collective process, just like the physical body is strengthened when I wrestle, and I wouldn't wrestle against you because I would lose, but like somebody who is athletic would wrestle, and they both develop through that. Similarly, the intellectual wrestling of the Maraji is the process by which the intellectual health of the Muslim community is restored. So they've earned the right to disagree and even to have a strong disagreement. But I haven't. So in that wrestling match, if I forget that I am not a qualified opinion holder, and I repeat something that maybe one of the Maraji themselves have said, that is fine for them to say because they're looking at it from the perspective of a qualified expert. I am not. I would just be a blind partisan or a fan. My speech may be destructive even if I'm repeating the same thing that the scholar himself has said. So I have an opinion and I have my intellect and I don't turn it off, but I have to remember, what am I qualified to express an opinion about? And I think I agree with Al-Shirazi that when we go outside of that, then it can be a source of disunity. But that inherent process was designed by Allah, put in place by the Imams, and it wasn't even in Ghaibat. It was even during the time of, particularly from Imam Ja'far Sadiq's time, not really before that, but from Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam's time, in front of him, scholars would disagree, and sometimes the Imam himself would not explicitly say who was right, because he wanted to train people to be able to have disagreement, but keep it within certain red lines. So, and the hadith here also hints at that if our Shia, if they were to have ijtima' min al-qulub fil wafa'i bil ahd. So the unity is not same fatwa, same practice, even same belief. The unity is that we're going to be loyal to the covenant. Loyal to the covenant is I make my best effort to obey and submit to what God has said. And if that means that the practice that I do, the prayer that I do is slightly different from somebody else, then we could both be loyal to the covenant. But I'm not loyal to the covenant if I give my preference priority over God's command.
Thank you so much. So I changed that, sorry. The intellectual wrestling of Maraja should not lead to physical wrestling of the followers, which
Exactly.
that's the case, unfortunately, in a lot of cases. So let's move on. Okay, so with that, again, there are a lot of other hints and points, but we try to be sorry. Sure. Okay. So we now go to the social level. Again, the way I have one point that before we go to the details of it. Remember, we are discussing the book of Mikyal. Okay, so that was the purpose and the goal of this meeting and this series. What I mean is, of course, Marhum Sahib Mikyal Rizwanullah alayh wrote this book in his time, in his age, and in Iran and in the situation that was around that, right? So what I mean is, we are not limiting ourselves to this, but to respect the author, you're reading his take on this. So just I thought that would be a good note. Us living in West and in these circumstances that we are in, there might be other things to consider as well. But I thought that would be something important to mention. Which, by the way, whatever he has said is absolutely relevant and applicable to us. My point was there are other things that we should consider and think about. So, inviting people towards the Imam alayhi salam is something that is at social level. Be active. We talked a little bit about it, murabatah, guarding the borders. So we should not be individually strengthening our faith and belief and increase and knowledge, blah, 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 and do nothing outside of ourselves. Inviting people towards the Imam alayhi salam is a big concept. Every time we should ask ourselves, what am I doing to do so? To invite people towards the Imam, connect people to the Imam. So Sahib Mikyal in that part, which I believe is 48, number 48 in his list, goes in details, which I encourage everyone, you take a look at that part. Yes, 48. Inviting people to the Imam. He brings a lot of ahadith from different sources, which I thought that would be a good idea to pick at least a couple of them and read here in this class, rather than me talking about its importance. We learn and hear from the words of the Imam alayhi salam. So these are, again, screenshots from the book of Mikyal, and I intentionally did that. Wanted to, once in a while, as you know, I quote directly from the book, and I encourage everyone to look at it. Again, number 48. As I said, this section is one of those sections that can be read and studied on its own, like the ghaibah that we read. So it's a little lengthy, but it's good. Any volunteer to read, please? We have a lot. You do this, and then next one, Faisal will do it, inshallah. But be loud, inshallah.
That we have bestowed him on the judgment day, he would arrive on the field of gathering, wearing a crown of heaven's light. His light will lead to all the people of the gathering, which will be united to address the whole world, and what is contained not equal a strand of this dress. then a proclaimer will call, O servants of Allah, know that he is the disciple of the scholar of the progeny of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All those who he took out of the darkness of ignorance in the world to become attached to his light, so that he may take them out of the perplexity of darkness in judgment day to paradise. Thus he will take along with him to paradise all those he had taught a good matter, remove the lock of ignorance from his heart, remove some doubt, or explain something.
Okay, I think it doesn't need further elaboration. Again, these words from Amir al-Mu'mineen, absolutely above my pay grade. Like, see the value of such a person. Just one note, because at least in English context and terminology, usually when it says scholar translated, we just think of a specific group of people. I want to give everyone this encouragement that any learned person, that means us with our limited knowledge, we read the book of Mikyal. Again, I said it many times, not that we be arrogant or proud in a negative way. We are honored, but what is the alms of this? To tell others, spread the word. Others that they have not read this, so we have that opportunity. So the Shia of ours, who is a scholar of our laws, which is the translation of aliman bi'ulumina. We have that context a lot. So aliman bi'ulumina, again, I'm not saying that this is my first session of Arabic. Daraba. Now I feel like I'm the scholars. I give rules, and as we talk, I question the marajim. The understanding of this Zaraba is wrong, because I just learned yesterday in my Arabic 101 in my local community college about Zaraba, and now I'm questioning. Not that, rather, I know at least a couple of ahadith, bare minimum I can read it for others. Invite others to Imam, connect them to the Imam alayhi salam, and see what is the value. It directly connects and clicks with the other ahadith that we read last week, that you see this is the greatest level of paradise that Imam alayhi salam said in the hadith that we read last week, that man nasarana biqalbihi wa lisanihi wa yadihi. So this is biyadih, taking action. So guess what? In the day of judgment, they will have the right of shafa'ah, intercession. Whoever was guided by those will be taken to heaven by them. So shafa'ah, it's not the topic of our discussion, has different levels. Of course, Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam on the top, but it comes down, like it flows down the path. So they will take them, and they will take them to paradise. So the other one, there are two other hadiths, one from Imam Hassan and the other one from Imam Hussein salawatullah alayhima. Faisal, you want to read these two?
Imam Hassan alayhi salam said, "If an orphan by Muhammad being separated from imams, wanders in ignorance, and is supported and taken out from his ignorance, and matters doubtful on him are clarified by a person. This person, in relation to one who takes care of an orphan, feeds him and gives him water, is like the sun in relation to the Soha star."
Yeah.
Imam-
Soha, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the far stars, which is very popular in our ahadith and literature, which their light is so minimal distance, and also it doesn't have much light, barely you can see and capture. They say, oh, the sky was super great, clean, so we could gaze Soha. Very so Imam says, what is the comparison between sun and those little dots that we barely see, right?
So the person that helps out the ignorance like the sun and the person.
Compared to whom? To one that they don't do that. So one person is learned, has all the knowledge, but is sitting home being worried about his religion, do nothing. in action. The other one takes care of the orphans of the imams. The orphan who is disconnected, wander around. Again, when I before the class, I was talking about this friend that I was introduced to. So literally when we were saying goodbye, again, he's smiley, was like, you know what? I respect the imams. You're all imams. And I kind of like Imam Mahdi, but I still have love for Agha Khan. I don't know what to do. It's exact moment of wondering. So that person is funny. Like he was like, oh, I say Ya Ali Madad a lot. I heard you don't. I said, we do a lot. And then he had a question if it is shirk or not. My point is, that's a Shia. That person is a Shia, but he has questions. He's wandering around. For some reason, there was no local. He used to go to Sunni Masjid. That's why he had a lot of questions about that. So that's an orphan disconnected from his Imam. So we think Imam Mahdi alayhi salam doesn't care about that person, doesn't consider him as his son, doesn't consider him as his orphan. The orphan in this regard is spiritually orphan. It's disconnected, right? So did you read the hadith of Imam Hussein alayhi salam as well or no? Do that, please.
Imam Hussein ibn Ali alayhi salam said, one who takes care of an orphan of ours who is separated from us due to our concealment and instructs him about our sciences that he has learnt till he brings him to the straight path. Allah tells him, O my kind and sympathizing servant, I am more deserving of kindness and forgiveness. O my angels, prepare 100,000 palaces in paradise for him. For each letter that he has taught, and provide him for each letter that he has taught, and provide him all the good things in it.
I think that's enough of, not enough, but that suffices from me elaborating. So again, if you had time, refer to this chapter, especially the point 48, and you will read more and more of these ahadith. And again, just don't read the ahadith and say, okay, we learned those ahadith. These are for action, okay? These means that I should take action, do something, and be creative. You're active on Instagram, you're active in social media, you have good network of friends. Use those means and mediums to spread the word, to be watching, because you see the Rabitu guarding the border. As I said, one of the job descriptions of the guard, border patrol is what? Do they sit, in their office and smoke and watch TV and drink coffee? No, they are on their Jeep going around along the border, watch for any threat, for anything that happens. So this happens in our community. What is this? MSAs is one of the areas that we should be like watching, have an open eye, see what's going on. What are the threats for our Shia community? We have to protect and preserve this. Okay, so let's move on. The other one, these are all in one big topic, I would say, but different examples. That's why I'm just numbering them differently. Again, following the booklet that I'm using and I have introduced. So holding gatherings in his honor. Again, it is important. These are all social levels. It's not just we know or we talk. These gatherings are important and specifically encouraged by the Imams alayhi salam, not only during the time of Ghaibah, during the time of other Imams. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. So I'll mention this, I think, next one. How birthday parties. How important is the birthday parties in American culture? More than I don't know, Sunday church, right? Oh my God. It reminds me a lot of stories that we had a meeting like early year that I arrived in US. So talking about like this stuff, classes and all, and someone didn't show up. I was like, okay, what happened? My son had a birthday party with his school friend. Like, what? Like I couldn't digest. Again, that was my ignorance, but What? You didn't come for discussion or planning for having class or this Islamic studies because your son was invited to how important that is. So how much importance do we give to gatherings in the honor of Imam Mahdi? So birthday gatherings of Imam Mahdi, birthday celebration of 15th of Sha'ban, for example. This is an opportunity that we celebrate the way that we can. We decorate our houses, we decorate our neighborhood, we even among ourselves, we underestimate these, but these are very valuable. This is what I want to give an example is about Ghadir, but it's related. Small things matter. For example, one of the etiquettes of Eid al-Ghadir is to dress new clothes, right? My wife's grandfather, the other grandmother who passed away, had this tradition because they had millions of grandson and grandkids. Every Qadir, there was a new pair of socks that they would give to everyone. I still remember that. And my point is, this is a good tradition that we can practice. It doesn't cost much. Its cost doesn't matter, but it revives. It keeps the flame alive, right? This is day of Ghadir. I'm giving you a pair of socks. That's it. And you remember that. You plant this seed in your kids' mind, in your family. Again, sometimes you say, oh, my family are so religious. Yes, but everyone loves gifts. What do we do on 15th of Sha'ban? How do we cooperate to hold gatherings, to elevate the honor and the name of Imam alayhi salam in the Shia community, which he is, we talked about the hadith from Amir al-Mu'mineen, that he's stringent, like in like al-gharib, at-tarid, so in his community. So next one, attending such gatherings. So both of these are important. That's why I put different numbers. Sometimes we are so busy gathering, holding events and all, but we don't go to participate. Participation also matters because you are giving importance and attention to those, right? Does that make sense? I remember a long time ago back home, there were like, I don't know, 50, 60 celebrations of 15th of Sha'ban by a group of friends. But at the end, one year, some of our older friends, they were like, you know what? These people are busy planning for 15th of Sha'ban gatherings for 2 months, but they themselves don't go anywhere as a attendee. So let's put together something the last week of Sha'ban to have it as a celebration of khadimin, like servants who served in the past 2 months preparing and doing this. Now they go and attend something. So my point is the attendance itself is important, especially in this post-COVID era. Now we are used to online. I have seen, unfortunately, even like during Muharram, for example, someone is living in Gainesville. Some people, they are from Gainesville. Every night they drive, they care. But I know that some people, they were like, what do you do? Me and my family, we play a YouTube video and we watch. I'm not downgrading. This is good. This is better than nothing. But taking out, sitting in my car, spending money on the fuel, driving 45 minutes to come is valuable. It's important. Attending those majalis. So see what Imam Sadiq alayhi salam had this conversation with Fudail, which is a very interesting. By the way, this is in Qurb al-Isnad, which is a very interesting book. I love it. Qurb al-Isnad Himyari. It's also Himyari, so Saeed will be happy to. So any volunteer to read this? Oh, now it's good. Ali, the Sultan Al.
Father asked one of his companions, Fudail, do you gather and narrate our narrations? Yes, we do, Fudail replied. Imam said, I loved those gatherings.
O Fudayl, revive our cause. May Allah be merciful to the one who revives it.
It has a continuation which I didn't translate, but I will talk to it. So again, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, إن تلك المجالس أحبها. I love those gatherings. To me, this is my understanding. Sayyid will correct me if I'm wrong. They could go to Imam Sadiq himself every day, but Imam is encouraging, like, start your branch. You know what I mean? Your chapter. Bunch of Shias in Basra get together. تجلسون و تحدثون. Do you get together? Yes, any Shia could have had the book by Zorara, for example, and study home. No, that's valuable. I'm not saying no, that don't do that. But again, not specific to, I mean, but this is something different that I hope and I believe this is one of the example of tajlisun wa tuhaddithun. Do you get together and you see how much benefits it has? Like, we learn from one another, we teach, we encourage. Isbiru wa sabiru wa rabitu wa tawasaw bis sabr. In Surah Al-Asr, as you know, this is also about the Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, at least one of the ta'wilat of the, or tafasir, the Surah Al-Asr. You get together, Imam asked, you get together, tuhaddithun. It also has, from the rest of the hadith, we can say, it also has the connotation of discussing the masaib of Ahlul Bayt. Because Imam continues, Ya Fudayl, man dhakarana aw dhukirna indah, fakharaja min aynihi mithlu janahi dhubab, ghafarallahu lahu dhunubah. So anyone who remembers us or is reminded of us, and then a drop of tear comes from his eyes, so Allah will forgive him all of his sins. So what was the topic? Just holding the majalis and attending those. And again, we see how, again, this is one of those topics that you should go and read more, how the angels come. Some of them are mind-blowing. It's amazing that when you leave, the angels come and get blessings from that room that you were there and you were discussing the knowledge of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. From the time that you leave your house, 45 minutes away, till you come and you go back, the angels are praying for you. We don't appreciate, honestly, I say it. This is sad, but at least we know that we don't appreciate it. That how much blessings do we have in this society, in this community? Honestly, I mean it, because there are people that when we talk to them, they're like, you know what? The closest masjid to us is 1 hour drive, and we barely go there. All of my kids' friends are Christian Americans. My point is, we have a great blessings. So, and people that we have. And then everyone, let's think about how we can do that. Might be one of the continuation. Faisal, you said, do we talk about what to continue from this class? So how can we do something in our areas? You are traveling, you are here, and then you go back to your city. How can we start something locally with a new circle, with a new group of people that for any reason, as I said, the other, case that I was talking to, they were like, for some reason, they don't like that masjid's taste for any reason, one of those division things. And this guy was like, yeah, you know what? Here is good because when I pray, no one looks at me weirdly. But when I go to other masjid, and he was praying without torbah, but open-handed. We have a lot of, this is coined by me, you can write it, anonymous Shias in this community. I am sure that there are others in other places as well. What I mean is, they are Shia, they're born Shia, but they have been going to Sunni center, or either they're not going anywhere, or they're going to that Ahmadi center, or Salafi, or Sufi, because they are Muslim. They want to still keep their identity. But when they go, for example, to that masjid that, I don't want to say they're extreme, but their taste is different. So they feel not welcome. So they stop going. So they are one of those border patrol things that, oh, they're on the edge of the cliff to fall into other sects or not being a Shia. Anyway, my point was we have to be smart and sharp, seeing these people and try to help them and spread the knowledge of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. All right, so that was the first category towards believers. Sahaba Mikyal has other groups of duties towards non-believers, which applies to us a lot, like we are living in this society, which majority of them on the concept of taqiyya and forbearance and all. For example, forbearance with non-believers. So this is important and sometimes hard. How can we have that? Because as you know, sometimes people, they can't tolerate and they may take action and may cause problems. This is important. I put all of them on the screen and then we talk about them, right? Patience in hardships caused by tyrants. Taqiyya and keep it the secrets of Ahlul Bayt. Avoiding gatherings, mocking the religion. So I mentioned this and we'll talk a little bit about it. Brothers, sisters, this is important. Not everything that we have learned from Ahlul Bayt is for public announcement. This is very important. Again, if I want to talk about this concept of different levels of classification, we have classified information. Even nowadays in a age of information, because some people say, you know what? Oh, I do the land, blah, 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 without any problem. Why? Because look at the YouTube, all of these things are there. People are doing, for example, I pick on the land. So still, that doesn't justify me going on the member, or I don't go on member, behind the table and say publicly this and that. Things that are supposed to be secret, be classified within the Shia community. By the way, we are being recorded, that's fine, but I am the fan and supportive of keeping the flame of bara'ah among our family. We have to do that the best way possible. But that doesn't mean we should go and do it in a crazy way, which is against the teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. I'm not saying it as an emotional thing. The ayah of Quran says, what is the ayah? إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ. How do you translate this ayah so far? I mean, you have heard everywhere, which is good because this is also a classified version. إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ. So do you want to do a little research thing?
The most noble amongst you is the most God-fearing.
أحسنت. الحجرات. Surely the noblest, did you cheat? The noblest among you is in the sight of God is the most God-fearing of you. إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ. This is a slogan everywhere you see it. In one of the ahadith, the Imam alayhi salam says, أَشَدُّكُمْ عَلَى التَّقِيَّةِ. أَتْقَاكُمْ. In this ayah, one of the meanings, again, أَتْقَاكُمْ be muttaqi, and they're the same root. God-fearing is true and correct. But among you Shia, this is maybe one level is for public, all Muslims, the best of you is the most God-fearing. But this ayah doesn't stop there. There's another level specific to Shias. The Imam says, among you Shias, the best of the best are the ones that they perform or execute taqiyya at the most level possible. Meaning that, as I said, we should not be just emotional, bah, okay, let's go out and hey, daddy. So we have to announce everything that we just learned in the Imamah class. For example, I'm just saying. So Sahaba Mikyal mentions that as one of our duties, because Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam complained a lot throughout history that Shia wa ma adraka ma Shia. They bother us when sometimes they are excited about something, they go out and say that out loud and they cause problems for us. So yes.
When the classical form do that is, aside from, oh, everything is more information age, everything is available. The other response I hear is, oh, but it's working. This method of exposing and disassociating openly and loudly, it's working.
What do you mean it's working?
Like it's bringing people to Shia.
How many Sunni has become Shia because of the land that you did on the satellite channel?
If it's a numbers game, if we're talking strictly
Because of that.
well, that's the thing. They bring people like talk on themselves and say, hey, like either they have a discussion for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and then at the end of it, like, oh yeah, I'm super convinced, let me redo my shahada. Or they say, yeah, I've been watching your channel, your videos, your TV station or whatever. I want to convert now. I hate 1, 2, and 3. I want to disassociate, etc.
I have seen that too as well, like. a
So
lot.
if you just
That's good. That's why we want to have discussion. Okay.
If you just bring like a numbers game to it, they're like, oh yeah, here's my proof. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever.
Before Ahoreza, Hossam, can you also shed
Yeah,
light, like
so-
you share your experience?
Pretty much exactly what he said. You've seen these kind of TV shows and like call-ins, very often, where.
Callings or from
like,
next
they-
room
they call-
callings.
So like, for example, like they, the first call, for example, they would debate with the speaker. And then like call number 5, they would converge or something, you know? It's like, it's not, the first time it happens, they can automatically like become Shia or whatever. But, after a while, they do call in and say, hey, you know, I'm fully convinced your argument makes sense. And I want to become Shia. And what happens is, other people who are watching are like, wow, he became Shia, so there must be some truth to it, you know?
Yep.
That kind of thing. But it's like, it's very extreme. And like the whole purpose of it, like, cursing or doing something that is, we are not told to do, it invokes like strong emotion. Like, this is gonna be the extremes of the extreme. You know what I mean?
Okay. I have also some thoughts I will share later, but yes, Raza.
I would say out of those like brothers and sisters of Ahlul Sunnah who convert, how many of them converted because they were actually drawn to the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt and the greatness and their position on earth and what they brought, versus, converting because the Latinat was dead. So what the point that I'm trying to make is, it's not the Latinat that draws them. Maybe after, they learn about Ahlul Bayt, for example, then, you bring up the Latinat and then they kind of start to, put the puzzle together. But I would argue it's hardly ever the Latinat that's the spark that ignited a Sunni's heart to.
Yeah. So if I may, the first hadith in the same chapter 48 that Sahib Mikyal mentions, which is from Al-Kafi, Rizwanullah ala Kulaini, very interesting. I was thinking about this, very interesting. So he says, someone named Sulaiman ibn Khalid comes to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. He says, I have a family or extended family that they accept my words. Should I invite them to this cause or not? Should I invite, meaning that should I, because we have some of the hadiths that say do not bother Sunnis. Probably that was the trigger that this guy was asking Imam. I have a family or extended family, because back then, even now we see in our community, there were a lot of mixed families that the wife was Sunni, the husband was Shia, or very, very mixed. So he asked Imam, should I do that? I have some levels or acceptance among them. So considering that, should I invite them to this cause? What do you think Imam would say? No?
So like what level of, I guess, Iman are the other families? Like, does it say, like, are they just starting to?
Different context to get. The guy came to the Imam, says, I can pull the Arabic if you want, but yeah. Coffee 212. Yeah, well, what do you think? I want to read this Arabic. I know we are running out of time, but this is the last session, but that doesn't mean we should not respect time, but
I give it extra time. Guarantee people.
Yeah.
You end at 12.
Yeah. I mean, our plan was 11:45. So anyway, come on. Any thoughts? قلت لأبي عبد الله ها هنا. Do you see? Yeah. But you can. But now you cheated, right?
I can't see anything.
You can't?
No, it's too small.
Too small? Sorry. That's good because you cannot cheat. So I read for you. I pause wherever I want. قلت لأبي عبد الله عليه السلام إن لي أهل بيت فهم يسمعون مني. فهم يسمعون مني. أفأدعوهم إلى هذا الأمر؟
So they have like some reception already. So like
Yes. It seems so, yeah. Why not? Okay. Ladies, what are your thoughts? Should you do that or not? This is the question. قلت لأبي عبد الله. I wish I was, but قلت لأبي عبد الله عليه السلام إن لي أهل بيت وهم يسمعون مني أفأدعوهم إلى هذا الأمر؟ يعني إلى الشيعة وإلى الولاية.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Sister Arzu online said yes. You said yes. Okay. What else? Please consider the condition. The context is important. I have a family that they hate the name of Shia. I have to pray in bathroom so they don't know that I converted to Shia. أفأدعوهم إلى هذا الأمر. That's different than إن لي أهل بيت وهم يسمعون مني. واو, I think is واو حالية. Or it gives the context, yes. Alhamdulillah. Ahsan. Yes. Why you said no? And then you wouldn't have wife. If they followed your advice, you were wifeless bachelor sitting here.
I'm saying that Imam at that time, especially was Imam Sadiq, I'm guessing. Maybe he would have said.
Imam said, فَقَالَ نَعَمْ. I love the Imams, how they build the arguments based on Quran. إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ يَقُولُ فِي كِتَابِهِ يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ.
Yes.
Yes. Someone online?
No, I was going to say exactly because the Quran says that you should guide your family because the hellfire is burning. Its fuel is people and stones. Exactly.
Yes. And by the way, it doesn't say it burns people and stones. It says the fuel of it is a stone. Oh my God. Imagine the fire that it is fueled by a stone. Anyway, that's a ma'ad discussion. So consider the condition, I would say. This is important in the context of the hadith, not openly, randomly. I have seen these people, and I should confess, when I was very young, and so I had that flame as well. You know, English, how should we say that? So, I found a Sunni, sit down, this, that, let's. But as I grow up and see the patterns and teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, yes, we should do that, but with an open eye. Where? To whom? Because some of the hadith say, hey, mahlan, what are you doing with the Sunnis? Leave them alone. What is that? In arada yahdi Allah rajulan. What is this? We discussed that in that course, right? Allah will guide them, send them in light and blood. إذا أراد الله بعبد خيرا قذف في قلبه نقطة. So the beginning of the hadith is ما بكم والناس, like دعهم. Anyway, but if I am in a position, thank you for mentioning that. I wanted to say, but I said might be personal, but now you bring it up. If I am in a situation that my extended family, that they are not necessarily Shia or Ithna Ashari, but yasma'una minni, I have a position, I had good akhlaq already, I have good manner, and we are chill, we cool, we talk. So yeah, why not? But if not, no, like that's crazy. That may cause problems. Oh, sorry, I wanted to ask your opinion about this whole topic that we were talking.
One question. So one of you, I think, mentioned that it's effective, right? That sometimes people consider But where do we get the idea that it is a numbers game, or that converting people is success? So, for example, it's a debate whether people actually convert more because of the line or not. And that, I think you raised that point, that it might have been something else that converted them, or there might be a way to equally effectively or more effectively convert them. That's a separate question. But even before we get to that point, is it effective? Let's assume it is effective. Who said that we're supposed to convert people?
Well, isn't that the whole guidance of, like when you have orphans or, رحم الله من أحيا أمرنا, isn't that one, that family or hadith?
Not necessarily. The reason is that we cannot know what are the second order or third order effects of converting people. So, for example, Jehovah's Witnesses, I'm taking an extreme example, right? But they convert a lot of people, right? And that's how their religion grows. They're also kind of mocked in general society. People see somebody kind of well-dressed and, wearing a briefcase in a residential neighborhood, and they're like, oh, here they come. Let's have some fun with them, or let's pretend we're not home. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses don't really have any kind of historical sensitivities. People just mock them. But if that were Shia, and again, it's an extreme example, then what are the second order effects in society? And what are the third order effects? Meaning, based on the reaction, what will be 100 years from now, 500 years from now? What will be the effect? So in the Arab world, for example, the word Safawi is still used as an insult. Whether it's real crimes committed or imagined crimes committed, my point is that even 400 years later, actually now 500 years later, you still have a memory that maybe it's fake, that this was done. And therefore, we're going to kill people, we're going to prevent people from practicing their faith because of that image. So if you convert 10 people today, and 500 years from now, 10 people are forced into taqiyya and lose the memory of being Shia because of what you did today, did you win or did you lose? Now, anytime there's a calculation you can't make, I'm not saying that this is right or wrong. Anytime there's a calculation you can't make, you cannot decide based on the numbers game. Mm-hmm. When you don't have data, you have to decide based on some other parameter. That parameter is an ethical parameter. Mm-hmm. And that's why in the majority of these ahadith, you'll find that the Imams gave us an ethical parameter. They never told us, all right, take a numbers game. If you can convert more people into Shiism than you're chasing away, do it. Because the Imam's horizon was not just 10 years from now, but it was, until the day of judgment. Does that make sense? So, if you're getting married, and you want to make that decision, some people make it kind of on a checklist. And that doesn't usually work because you can't really have a checklist about things that you haven't experienced yet. Mm-hmm. So a marriage decision should be based on an ethical framework. What are the values, the morals of this person? And maybe even what is their family and their upbringing like? That's more valuable. You're not going to get specific data, but you'll get more valuable information for a decision. So that's why it's very dangerous to kind of play a numbers game, because your numbers game is only going to be for your immediate horizon. There's no way you can calculate what's going to happen in 500 years or even in 100 years.
Yeah. And also, I think the first question, it implies that those groups of ahadith are specifically to Shias. So actually, that's another interesting point, that those are within the Shia community, that we have to do this actively. No doubt. I think no boundary in reviving the cause of Ahlul Bayt among Shias, because they are the ones that they're orphans of the Imam, and their light will decay and they will leave the community. Others, case by case, we should be smart. And yeah. So with that, Oh,
I
okay.
have to.
Okay.
Okay, so when you, and I face this like sometimes. So when you're talking to someone, or when someone knows that you're Shia, and the first question they ask is, "Oh, do you curse?" Like that is already an open secret.
So I say no.
But
We don't curse. We do la'an. La'an is different than cursing. No, seriously.
that's you do not. Yeah. Isn't that's
Yes, because God does.
But because you start that
I mean, we should be mindful. Like few weeks ago in that masjid, one Shia friend came to me. This is, you may laugh, which is fun. So they said, "Oh, I have a question." So okay, sure. In Ziyarat Ashura, that we say, who are the first and second and three? Doesn't matter. Just what's your point? Whoever they are. The point is people that they oppressed Ahlul Bayt. So I laugh, but I feel bad. So he said, "Oh, because don't we do the land to Khulafai Rashidin?" So I was always thinking, who is the fourth? Is it Imam Ali? Is Ziyarat Ashura? I said, no. Who said we curse Khulafai Rashidin? That fourth, I knew that person had some questions, but also he's Shia. He's recites Ziyarat Ashura. His question was, who is the fourth? I said, no, because I'm afraid that I'm cursing. I said, that's Muawiyah, because right after Imam said, وَيَزِيدَ ابْنَ مُعَاوِيَةَ وَالْعَنْ يَزِيدَ خَامِسًا. So I said, oh, so? I said, yeah. And Imam didn't name Muawiyah because still Muawiyah is respected among majority of Sunnis. And then I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I derailed the conversation to the whole concept of land because I knew that's a question for him. I said, do you recite the ayah salawat after Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusallun? What is the next ayah? He said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. I said, no, that's in the same ayah. What is the next ayah? So I pulled Quran. I said, okay, see, read this. Inna alladhina yu'dhuna Allah wa rasulah la'anahumullah fi dunya wal akhirah. People that they annoy and bully or bother Prophet, Allah la'an them, because la'an is not curse, is keeping them far from His mercy and angels and all. I said, I don't care personally that is it number one or number two, right? I like number one and number two wordings. Is it number one or number two? I don't care about that person. I mean, I do, but the beginning is not about that. It's about I stand where? When there is a fight between God and His people and the enemy of God and their people. I should just watch. And I said, I don't take side. I'm pious. You can't be like that. That people, Namrud is killing Ibrahim, throwing him in the fire, and say, you know what? I don't take side. And that made a lot of sense to that person. Like, oh, okay. I said, okay, do you want to be like that? That people are killing Jesus, for example, and you just watch and say, oh, I don't take side. I said, no, I don't. I said, do you like that people that are silent when there's an attack in Afghanistan and they're killing your people? I said, no. If someone says, you know what, I don't condemn ISIS. You don't like that. This is about the concept of land. We show our love and affection to God by showing that we distance from those that are your enemy. Okay, who did that? That's Mistaq. That's the secondary concept. This is what I do with Sunnis. If they approach, not to start. Ask me the question. I said, okay, let's talk about Quran first. Land is in Quran. What does it mean? Who are the people? So, but don't start with, okay, what about one or two? It's okay, I don't know who they are. The first person who, don't you agree with me that let's land the first person who wronged Prophet? You don't agree, Sunni? He said, yes, I agree. Whoever he was, I don't care, So anyway, so with that, it's 12 o'clock. Sadly, this is the end of these 14 sessions. And I wanted to thank Allah first and thank our Imam alayhi salam who helped us and gave us the tawfiq and opportunity and honor, which I personally don't deserve that. But alhamdulillah, even I should say that with my laziness, I tried to escape this for 2 years. But alhamdulillah, it happened. I'm so grateful and honored, alhamdulillah. And thanks to everyone who attended, participated, shared their thoughts, questions, challenge, laughters, jokes, criticism, all. So I'm gonna stop recording unless anyone has anything before we close and do the dua. But I wanted to have some open discussion about what's next, because that has been the question a lot. I personally, what's next? Let's go home, sleep, take a break. But that's contradict what we were talking about, right? But the good thing is my wife is not here, so you can give a lot of commitment. I say yes. So no, by the way, I should say that she's mashallah very good support throughout these years doing this, and despite of a lot of pressure and things. So I say this in her absence. So anything before we recite the dua and officially end? Friends online? Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
the last one. I don't know, for example, I just want to like, I don't think it counts, but just want to like maybe get your thought on it. Like let's say discussions with people who are mocking religion now, what does that constitute as a example of 2.4?
Oh yeah. Oh, honestly, I should say I didn't go to details of the 2.4, avoiding gatherings, mocking religion. If you refer to the book of Mikyal, he has gathered a lot of ahadith that how Ahlul Bayt, they were like, how come you sit in a majlis that they mock religion or they mock any of Ahlul Bayt, and you can do something, you can stand up and leave, or you can just do something and you cannot, and you don't do that. We don't have time to go to those details. I can give you the reference and you go and read it. What was your specific question?
Just like, yeah, in let's say sittings where
56.
stuff are said against the religion, against the imams, maybe, especially
Okay.
like in in Persian settings. These are abundant.
Avoid Persian settings. That's my sincere advice to you. Honestly. So you see, we have 1, 2, 3. If we count Zainab as Persian, so we have 3 here. I mean 4. Say this Persian.
If it's a family gathering, what to bear in mind is that there are multiple obligations that you have. So one is that by default, you should be averse to any gathering where religion is mocked. So that could be, like sometimes you have comedians or these types of lighthearted gatherings, and they make light and they make jokes about religious belief. So we shouldn't participate in person, and we shouldn't really let that be our entertainment, because it affects us consciously and subconsciously. But then if there is a family gathering, you have to balance both maintaining a family connection and hopefully having a positive effect, and separating. So what you can do is, number one, show your distaste if you're able to. Change the subject, don't respond. If it's not going to be rude, leave early. So do something to show your distaste. If showing your distaste also is sometimes going to make things worse, sometimes when somebody is really charged up, then they just take that as a fuel on the fire to kind of pile on, especially if there's multiple people. So then the best thing is to be وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. You say peace and you don't engage, but only to the extent that your being in that gathering is part of another religious command, which is, for example, to maintain a connection with family, or maybe to try to have a good effect on somebody who is, in a bad place. A lot of people who sometimes will mock religion are not necessarily anti-religion. There is a personal issue, a bad experience they had with somebody religious, or a political issue, or something else that is causing them to blame religion. So a lot of people who sometimes mock religion are not always mocking religion. And if that's a friend or a family member, you might want to keep a relationship so that hopefully when they're not in that hypersensitive state, maybe you can bring them back and allow them to separate. Your personal bad experience is not because of Islam, or your political bad experience is not because of Islam. And that takes kind of patience and time. So it's just like if your parents, for example, are trying to convert you to polytheism. They're still your parents, God forbid. So you have to honor them and do ihsan, and you also have to kind of avoid them or disobey their command if they command you to do something that is prohibited. So this is a obligation, but it's not the only obligation we have. And sometimes there's different obligations, they are overlapping, so you have to map it carefully.
Thank you so much. And as I said, and I sent it to Yata, the Farsi scan. If you want to read more, this is interesting concept and very muktalabeh, very what should I say? Happens to us. So 56. So with that, let's recite the dua, and inshallah we finish our series. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammadin wa ajjil farajahum. صلى الله عليك يا مولانا يا صاحب الزمان صلى الله عليك يا ولي العصر أدركنا اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وغائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا اللهم اجعلنا من أنصاره وأعوانه وهب لنا رأفته ورحمته ودعاءه وخيره اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد